Welcome to Vauxhall, a podcast production of Learned and Laughter. This episode of Vauxhall features a discussion on wastewater management with engineer Solomon Noy. Vauxhall's discussions on governance are produced in partnership with Empowering Good Governance, also known as Egg Magazine, an online publication to be found at www.eggmagazine.net. That is www.eggmagazine.net. This episode's guest, Engineer Solomon Noy, is the Director of Waste Management for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Mr. Noy started his education at the Accra'S School of Hygiene and continued to pursue a degree in environmental science at KNUST. He went on to pursue a master's degree in water and sanitation engineering. Thereafter, Engineer Noy gained a scholarship to study at the Institute of Hydraulic Engineering in the Netherlands. He graduated with a double master's in water and sanitation engineering, as well as sanitary engineering. Solomon Noy has been in active public service for 22 years. We now join Ekem Amunulatson, the host and producer of Vauxhall, with his guest, Engineer Solomon Noy.
Mr. Noy, hello, and thanks for giving us some time to talk to you. We are here to discuss some of the issues, the challenges, the promises, the potentialities about water, specifically wastewater and stormwater. So I thank you for your time, and we will go through a set of questions. And if I may quickly ask you to introduce yourself, how you came about being an engineer, and the offices that you occupy and function in right now.
Very well. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, so to start with, I'm Engineer Solomon Noy, the Director for Waste Management Department of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And by way of profession, I'm a sanitary engineer by profession. So I've been in active public service since the year 2000. So roughly over 22 years now. So I started from the grassroots just after sixth form, where I studied physics, chemistry, mathematics. I did not go to university straight away, but I went to the Accra'S School of Hygiene because I was interested in making sure our waste management issues are okay. So I was in the School of Hygiene to study how local governance and waste management issues are. Then based on that, I proceeded to the university after working for a while after the graduation from Accra School of Hygiene. So I went to KNUST, and there I pursued environmental science for my first degree. And within environmental science, you have environmental engineering as a course, and that gave me the interest. So I decided to go further. This time for my second degree, which is the master's, I opted for water and sanitation engineering, still at KNUST Civil Engineering. And over there, I gained a scholarship to pursue sanitary engineering proper, which was a collaborative program between KNUST and Delft, UNESCO Delft, at the Institute of Hydraulic Engineering in the Netherlands. So that same year, it was tough though. So 3 were selected from Africa, 2 from Ghana, myself included, and 1 from Ethiopia. So we got a double program whilst we were pursuing the water and sanitation engineering in KNUST. We were also flown to the Netherlands at the same time to join the other colleagues there who were doing the sanitary engineering. So we graduated with a double master's degree in water and sanitation engineering, and at the same time, sanitary engineering proper. Sanitary engineering is basically an expert in civil engineering where after the course, sanitary engineering is supposed to turn any wastewater, however dirty, however the source, into potable water. And that you do by making sure that you know the stuff that the wastewater is made of. And then you engineer a solution by way of technology to turn it back into potable water. So that's sanitary engineering.
Before we continue, I wanted to make two things known to our listeners. One, KNUST is basically the Kwame Nkrumah University for Science and Technology in Kumasi, Ghana. And then we are also talking to Engineer Noy at his station at one of the work yards. So if we have any environmental noise, please forgive us. You might hear a hammering or a loud truck or a loud horn for that matter. So please excuse the environmental noise, but such is the case as we have to deal with. All right. So my first question beyond introduction was to also ask that, given your experience with stormwater and wastewater management across Ghana, please discuss under the umbrella of resiliency, what makes Ghana's urban settlements fragile? What are some of the perennial challenges in terms of infrastructure incapacities, built environment malfeasance, and also geomorphological and terrain existences?
Yes, thank you very much. So, talking about stormwater, Accra on a whole is low-lying. We all know that. The topography is such that we are always at the receiving end when it comes to runoff water as a result of any heavy rains. Because we are just below the Accra Togo ridges. And then anytime, even if it does not have, it doesn't rain in Accra and it rains in Eburi and the mountains, definitely it descends to Accra. In the colonial era, by way of research and then history, what our history tells us, the issue persisted, but they found an engineering solution to it. But what it is was that there were natural grounds where any heavy downpour that comes, there are depressions within the system that collects the excess storm water, and then the remaining is what is channeled to flow along the drains and the rivers that were available at the time before finally emptying into the sea as a final outfall. One typical example is the area called Jowulu. Jowulu, currently as you see it, is a very big settlement area. The meaning of Jowulu in Ghana, Jaw is drain. Wulu is big, or not even big, gigantic. So when you say Jowulu in Ghana, you are saying a very big drain. And in the olden days, that is where every heavy runoff water settles as a pool, a river, very big, the whole township as you see there. That is where the water will accumulate and then will take time to recede. By receding, it will now infiltrate into the groundwater to recharge the groundwater aquifer. So when you want to sink a borehole, it will sink and you get very quality groundwater. Now, what we have done over the past is, before the 1960s, after the water goes to settle, the remainder that is left into the rivers, that was the calculation that went into the design and sizing of our drains. Don't forget, our population by then, I think, was less than 4 million or so as a country. So the engineering bit took into consideration the hydrology, and that is the volume of water after it has accumulated. The excess is what went into the calculations to get our drainages designed, intercity and then wherever. Some were even subsurface drains that goes underground. All these were taken care of. Unfortunately, due to, our governance structure, our governance systems, where law enforcement became an issue, we were not able to take very good hold of our development control measures. So the waterways that I've described, you can imagine how large Jowolo is.
Yes.
The whole place is now heavily built up.
Exactly.
There are buildings all over the place. So you ask yourself, definitely once you have heavily, and that's just an example I'm giving. There were others elsewhere all over the city of Accra. So once you impede the flow of this runoff water, it means that the design of the drains are now going to take 3 times, 4 times the volume that they were originally designed for. Because there is nowhere else that the runoff water will accumulate and take time to recede. You understand? So that's the number one challenge we are having. And as the rural-urban sprawl began, the population of Accra began to increase. Basically, all government business are in Accra. So people started moving and trooping very fast into town. And then all other waterways within any community, any depression, were being filled up because there were weak development controls to be able to enforce the existing building regulations to ensure. What has even made the problem worse is currently we are copying blindly from the West. We are in the tropics. And what I mean by we are in the tropics is we know our annual rainfall patterns. So there is no way we can be paving a lot of areas with pavement blocks, astroturfs, concrete, and the stuff, just as you see in the Western countries. Because their precipitation, as compared to ours, is at times it's even snow. Mm-hmm. So what we should be doing is to be doing a lot of grassing, to be making sure that we do a lot of landscaping along the edges of all the smaller drains that we are left with. And the drains are also open. Open because it becomes very difficult if you cover them and then they are silted and waste has been dumped in them. It means every time you have to open them up to clean. If you don't do so, the effects will be more damaging than leaving them open. That's one thing a lot of people are not taking into consideration. So what we should be doing is along the edges of every drain, we should be doing grassing to be able to check the siltation. Whenever any silt is coming, the grass will hold it in check, and then the water will rather come into the drain. You understand? So because we are failing to do this and we are copying blindly, now we are itching to, whenever anybody is going to put up a house, there is a building law that says that you cannot pave or concrete up to 3/4 of your land space. You must leave at least 1/3 to be grassed. Nobody is enforcing that because we want to be like Europeans. And what the effect of that is that we are increasing the rate at which the runoff water will flow into the sea to join the salt water and depleting the groundwater aquifer to recharge. So in effect, a time will come very soon, you will sink borehole and we'll be getting dry wells.
Exactly.
We will sink boreholes and we'll be getting dry wells because we have allowed the runoff water to flow into the sea to join the salt water. And it will not come back to recharge our groundwater and the rivers for us. So in a nutshell, this is the general picture as I've painted. And what has made the case even worse is our inability to do effective solid waste management. Currently, we are doing just about 70% collection and transportation of solid waste. The remaining 30% is left uncollected as a result of reasons beyond our control. Built up areas, slum areas, where the access is not good. And then in slum areas, they cannot afford heavy. Okay, they cannot afford heavy charges in terms of solid waste management fees. So what they do is to give those waste to the junkies or Kayabola boys, and they also look elsewhere and dump them into the drains. They just wait patiently when the clouds are forming. They bring the waste close and they dump them, because even if you save 2 cedis, they do not have money to pay. So what we have to do as a city authority is to make sure that we look at the public good aspect of solid waste management and then meet the residents halfway to be able to ensure that we increase the percentage collection from the current 70 to about 90-95%. Then the little will be left to choke the drains once all of them are basically collected, because it is aggravating the situation.
Because I always operate out of the premise that one of the most fundamental basic things you have to take good care of in a city is the drainage.
Yes.
Because not only does it affect stormwater management, it also affects the quality of your infrastructure, like the roads. Yes. It increases potholes and what have you. So when it comes to the revenue to actually do this, let's talk a little bit about, before we started the taping, we mentioned the issue that once before, the water treatment ecosystem was as one. And at some point, it got broken off where wastewater was taken out.
Yes. So, you know, I'm not a bit the old school, but at least I came to meet Ghana Water and Sewerage Corporation. So in those days, the current Ghana Water Company was the same organization in charge of wastewater management, and it includes stormwater management and grey water management. Grey water is water from our kitchen sinks and then the washrooms and the rest. Black water is water from our WCs and other washroom containing fecal matter. So there used to be sewer systems in Tema and some parts of Accra, which the Ghana Water Company at that time, Sewerage Corporation aspect, were handling. Until the decentralization came, where the Local Governance Act then put the burden on management of wastewater, both grey and black, as the responsibility of the city authorities. So Ghana Water Company was now shelved with wastewater treatment, and they were handling only potable water treatment. And as a result, it affected the revenue mobilization for treatment of wastewater, because hitherto, once you pay your monthly water bills, in the water bill is a percentage that is dedicated for wastewater treatment. So nobody else comes to your home or your house to demand for any other wastewater management fee, because you have already paid for it. But when Ghana Water Company offloaded that burden to the city authority, the MMDAs, they did not add the revenue bit to it. And they asked the MMDAs to bill the citizens for wastewater treatment. And that became a challenge, because yes, it will be you have to put in a lot of structures and measures in place to be able to get that revenue. And even the fee fixing that they fix for the management of such system is not full cost recovery. It cannot even pay for the reticulation system, just the piping. It can't pay for it, let alone pay for the treatment. So with time, you saw that the wastewater treatment plant at Community 3 in Tema became defunct. As we speak, it is not working. And all the wastewater is
going straight into the lagoon,
going straight into the lagoon and into the sea, because it is being bypassed, because there's no treatment plant available. And that is very bad, because the revenue bit is not there.
This podcast has been a production of Learned in Laughter. Vauxhall is a podcast which, among other topics, tackles the ways and means by and which we govern ourselves. Learned in Laughter's Vauxhall is affiliated with Empowering Good Governance magazine, an online publication to be found at www.egg, as in egg, magazine.net.